Back to my question. Now the memory's on. How many people do you think were there?
10,000.
So what are real people were there?
10,000.
I heard somebody get close. 200,000. Yeah, you did not. You said 200,000 million. What location? In Washington, D.C., but what spot in D.C.?
White House.
Otherwise known as the place in every movie that ever features Washington, D.C., where they have to film something. Because you got the Lincoln Memorial and that big giant pool. And that's where everyone goes to think or to plan crimes. See National Treasure? They planned it on the steps of the women. 200,000 demonstrators near Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. The line underneath there, one of the most peaceful and even festive public demonstrations ever. As much as it was dealing with racism and dealing with the problems, it was a positive event. Okay? And that prompted, what you guys know, we just listened to it, the I Have a Dream speech. Now, you listened to, or watched, one segment of it that's the most famous. I'm going to show you. And read not nearly as well. One more. This comes right before the part that you guys listened to. We cannot walk alone. And as we walk, we must make the pledge that we shall always march ahead. We cannot turn back. There are those who are asking the devotees of civil rights, when will you be satisfied? We can never be satisfied as long as the Negro is a victim of the unspeakable horrors of police brutality. We can never be satisfied as long as our bodies, heavy with the fatigue of travel, cannot gain lodging in the motels of the highways and the hotels of the cities. We cannot be satisfied as long as the Negro's basic mobility is from a smaller ghetto to a larger one. We can never be satisfied as long as our children are stripped of their selfhood and robbed of their dignity by signs stating, "For whites only." We cannot be satisfied as long as a Negro in Mississippi cannot vote and a Negro in New York believes he has nothing for which to vote. No, we are not satisfied, and we will not be satisfied until justice rolls down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream. I am not unmindful that some of you have come here out of great trials and tribulations. Some of you have come fresh from narrow jail cells. And some of you have come from areas where your quest for freedom left you battered by the storms of persecution and staggered by the winds of police brutality. You have been the veterans of creative suffering. Continue to work with the faith that unearned suffering is redemptive. Go back to Mississippi, go back to Alabama, go back to South Carolina, go back to Georgia, go back to Louisiana, go back to the slums and ghettos of our northern cities, knowing that somehow this situation can and will be changed. That part goes right into where you started on the video with the I Have a Dream. So we talked about the qualities of that portion, the I Have a Dream. What stands out from this one? What does he do the same way he did in the other segment? Where were you guys at? The what?
He was listening, like, stuff they couldn't do.
Okay, identifying all the stuff they were not allowed to do. The repetition again, that we cannot be satisfied. Go back to that first line. There are those who are asking the devotees of civil rights, when will you be satisfied? So, I'm just trying to figure out how to word this. I mean, what's he kind of saying in that line? What is it really that people are asking here, in which he's arguing against in this whole section? Hold on, right?
When will you give up on what you're doing and be happy?
Exactly. Ooh, I like that. It basically, like, is that not enough? When will you be happy? When are you going to stop protesting, stop all this stuff? Haven't we given you enough? And what's his answer? No, you haven't. Using all the stuff he identified. Okay? And again, this is not maybe one of the most well-known parts of it, but I like it too. Goes through everything: police brutality, traveling and not getting lodging, mobility from a smaller ghetto to a bigger ghetto, and then a lot of the things we had talked about. Cannot be satisfied as long as a Negro in Mississippi cannot vote, and a Negro in New York believes he has nothing for which to vote. So you've got states where they can't even vote, and then the states where they can, there's nothing to vote for. Because people still aren't concerned with their issues. Okay? So you're going to do something similar here with your own twist. I need you in your groups. The groups I've had you in a couple times this week. So. Same thing for you. Okay, guys, I'm bringing this. Okay, so each group, you either have 1 or 2 copies, kind of based on how many are in there. Each of you has a portion of the speech, the earlier part of the I am the Dream speech. Okay, so before what we just read, before what you saw in the video. And you've got a couple prompts below it. Now everybody's got the one task, and I realize it's not English class, but you've got just a little activity on there to see if there's any words standing out from the passage that you absolutely have no idea what they mean. And that's going to happen. Okay. So kind of as a group, and this is where you get to talk. Go through whatever words you don't know. It can be collective if there's people who don't. And then the bottom question is the one I want you answering as a group, and you're going to complete and turn in before we leave today. So you have about 10 minutes to work on that. Each question is different kind of based on whatever portion you have. The one thing, a lot of what we looked at with Martin Luther King was the repetition. What you get into in some of these passages in the speech was metaphors. It's kind of a way of presenting the topic or the story. So you got to dig a little deeper into this. All right? So you've got the time now, read through. We got like 4 people in the group. You got a couple copies, it's the same thing. Read through, discuss what the answer to the question might be, make sure everyone's names are on top, and then I'll get it from you before we leave. Yeah.
We got 2 favors. We turn in one.
You only have to turn in one, yeah, for the group. All right? Let's do it. Let's shake your head. Call me. Nobody called me? Take a few minutes to really read through. Make sure you know what he's trying to say.
If we don't know what word, can we look it up?
What are you stuck on? That's it.
Split.
You said you can look it up, yeah. See if you can figure it out. Where are you looking for? It's, yeah, I mean, it's a similar meaning, but it fits in with it. You usually hear about like dark and desolate places. I'll tell you that, it's not a good thing. Not good. Which one? Okay, so based on what he's saying, what is Martin Luther King saying? What does he expect from us? What does he expect? According to what he says. Make sense? I know I was trying to figure out how to word it.
I know when you stand this now.
No, yeah. You're just straight to a check. Yeah, and what do you get? Right. So, cash you can check. That's a positive check. If you're cashing a check. Yeah. So if you say we're here to cash a check, you cash an actual check, you get money. It's one of those things where you just
I go to the Olive Garden for lunch. It's like 10 to 4 so chance. A lot of people, okay, a lot of people and I'm working like, it makes the day shorter because you only have 2 hours after. Yeah, that's the best part. No, all my friends have lunch. Yeah, same.
Right as a medicine, what he said. You have to admit.
Why are you so cute today? What are they doing? Yeah, I was about to say Luna and then I was like, she, I know
What are they expecting to return? It's yeah. All right, guys, got 3 minutes. Almost finished? Yeah. Okay, if you're finished, make sure all the names are on it. Bring it up. If you're still working, that's fine. You can line back up. If you have the extras still, you can bring those up. That's fine. We'll just go with this. Somebody can make a play. I can't do it. Everybody got their sense? All right, real quick. Monday. Make sure you have your packets. We'll go back through a couple pieces of these. If there's anything else we need to cover, we'll get into some of the riots and stuff in Birmingham and keep going with tracking. Your assessment will probably be late next week on the whole unit. All right? Go for it. Good weekend. You got a minute. We're good.